Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Fear the Walking Dead episode 2 video. There's also a bunch of other stuff that happened tonight. In case you didn't know, Wes Craven just died earlier today. He was one of the best horror writers and directors in the business. If you don't know who he is, he's the one that did Nightmare on Elm Street. He did the Hellraiser movies, a whole bunch of other stuff. So everybody scrape your fingernails on a chalkboard and think of him fondly. He's responsible for some of the earliest nightmares that I ever had, some of my most beautiful nightmares. So what I'm going to do is my top 5 moments from the episode, just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Here we go. Starting with number 5, Alicia goes after Matt. As predicted, he's total walker bait, but they definitely made us wait to find out what was going on. We hear him wheezing before they slam to the title sequence. Suspense and jump scares are like two of the biggest devices that horror stories use. We really didn't find out till Travis started poking around at him that he got bit, so he's definitely going to turn. It's just a matter of time. And if it's not clear, Alicia's one of the few people that has no idea what's going on with the Walker virus. So that's why she's so confused over why people want her to stay away from Matt. One of my favorite lines from the episode, though, is when she says, "If he has it, then I have it," which kind of throws forward to the main show. Because in the main show, they find out that everyone already has the Walker virus. Like, if you're confused about the mechanics of how you turn into a Walker, everyone has the virus. You turn whenever you die. So when you get bitten, you don't automatically turn. You turn because the walkers that bite you transmit a bunch of really bad bacteria that give you really bad infection, you get sepsis, and it causes you to die much quicker. Moving on to number 4, juxtaposing the craziness of what's going on in the city with the quiet in the suburbs. So we throw to Chris, who's ignoring everyone's phone calls. They're riding the bus into the city. He's heading into protest territory. But in the suburbs, they get back to their house and their neighbors are like setting up for their kid's birthday and everything is business as usual. Nick starts to freak out because he's like, how come nobody's talking about it? No one's talking about it on the radio. Nobody in their neighborhood seems to know what's going on. Nick also gets a really important line when he says he's entering a world of shit. Now he's talking about going into heroin withdrawal, but obviously that's a metaphor for everything just going to shit in Los Angeles. The entire city is entering a world of shit. Moving on to number 3, Matt versus Nick's descent into a world of shit. One of my favorite things about this week's episode was the way they juxtaposed what was going on with Matt and what was going on with Nick. Like, they both started wheezing at a certain point, so naturally they just want you to feel like Nick might slowly be turning, but he's not. He's actually withdrawing from heroin. That's why he looks like crap. But it's funny how heroin withdrawal looks exactly like turning into a walker. Think about that the next time you do drugs. I feel like The Walking Dead is a great anti-drug PSA. This is what you turn into. Because Nick totally understands what's going on and wants to keep Alicia from going back to get Matt, it sounded like he was acting a little bit whenever he started to spit up. Like whenever it looked like he started to foam at the mouth. He's got a nice stash of Oxy right now, but he should be good for a while. But he did actually say, what happens when this runs out? Like, he will have to go through full withdrawal at a certain point. If you ever watched Lost, it's kind of like Charlie on Lost whenever he was coming down off of heroin. I'll be interested to see how they deal with that walker across the street. It looks like that lady got away, but she didn't kill the walker, so the walker's probably going to come across the street and look for them now. That'll probably be the tipping point for Alicia, when she'll start to realize what's going on. She'll probably have to see Matt as a full walker before it clicks in her head. Isn't it funny how Nick in the first episode was like, I'm the screw up, but now he is suddenly like one of the smartest people on the show. He and Tobias, they definitely know their shit. On to number 2, meet the Salazars in the city. The situation in the city starts to blow up, so Travis, Liza, and Chris make a run for it, but they can't get out, so they duck into the barber shop. The Salazars are main cast, so they're actually going to be pretty big in this season's story. If there were any potential governors that would rise up, it looks like Daniel might be one of them. He has that look about him. One of my favorite things about their run out of the city, though, was Liza looking at the street and seeing the tarp blow off that body. I kept waiting for the body to rise up, but it hasn't happened yet. We did see one of the cops shoot another walker walking towards it, but it wasn't like a full-on dead person rising up after being shot like 20 times. That's really what it takes for the Dumbos to realize what's going on. Like the people that just don't believe no matter what you tell them. So of course, moving on to my number 1 moment. Kim Dickens smashing the hell out of the principal walker. She's like the de facto Michonne of the show until someone more badass comes along. I think the reason they gave her that visceral kill, like just smashing his head in over and over with the fire extinguisher, is to let you know that she's not going to be like some wilting flower. If you remember Carol Pelletier from the first couple seasons of Walking Dead, but before Ed died, she was kind of stuck inside her shell, but in the last couple of seasons, she's really come into her own. She's like Rambo Carol now. This Madison takedown is like the show telling you that Kim Dickens' character is going to be a badass from the beginning. Madison is not going to be a TV show Andrea, and it looks like Liza isn't going to be either. We just met the Salazars, so we really don't know what's going on with them, but it definitely looks like the father is going to be a force to reckon with. If you remember the story of the governor, he actually didn't start out as the governor. In the comic books, it was his brother that was the governor. He was just like a normal guy before the apocalypse, before his family died. It wasn't until the apocalypse and what happened after that he took on the governor persona and became like the fearsome governor that we know from the TV show and the comics. So just keep your eyes peeled to see if anybody is going to get that type of arc. Now, I mean, they're not going to do a governor type character, but think about the arc that he gets. You know, normal man, nothing special about him. The apocalypse hits, and suddenly he turns into this really big deal. Let me know though, what was your favorite moment from the episode, and who do you think is going to get the next badass Walker kill? I feel like we need to see a Walker kill inside the city, like with Travis's group at the barber shop. But in case you guys didn't know, next week the show's on break. Episode 3 won't air for 2 weeks. Now I know that sounds weird, there's only 6 episodes in the season, why are they taking a week break after the second episode? So AMC is probably just trying to avoid like a logjam with the MTV VMAs. It'd be like trying to premiere a show during the Super Bowl, like while the Super Bowl's going on. I mean, nobody on the planet would be watching it. Real quick reminder, new round of the giveaway starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Now I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow and a Game of Thrones bonus video, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There will be a new round of the Game of Thrones giveaway whenever I post that Game of Thrones video. In case you guys are catching up or you haven't seen it yet, you can click here for my Fear the Walking Dead Episode 1 video, and you can click here for my latest Game of Thrones video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.